In part 2 of the series, we continue with our discussion on basics of mechanical ventilation and setting up of a ventilator. In this, we will discuss the basics of ventilator, parts of a ventilator circuit, and the checklist before initiating ventilation. Ventilator is defined as a machine that artificially supports patients' breathing either partially or completely. In simple terms, it is a device that provides respiratory support to those who are in need of it. They include those with inadequate oxygenation, inadequate ventilation, or for airway protection. Let us discuss more in detail of the need for respiratory support. Respiratory failure can be classified into hypoxic or hypercapnic failure, or by the nature of the defect, it can be classified as oxygenation defect, ventilation defect, a diffusion defect, or a ventilation perfusion mismatch. The respiratory failure can occur due to a pathology in brain or the neuromuscular control or a muscle disorder, the airways, and finally alveoli. Disorder of any one of these can cause respiratory failure. The first one is the oxygenation defect. We know from the oxygen cascade as oxygen descends from atmosphere into the alveoli, the partial pressure of oxygen decreases. This is governed by the alveolar gas equation, which states that partial pressure of the alveolar oxygen is equal to partial pressure of inspired oxygen minus partial pressure of alveolar carbon dioxide divided by the respiratory quotient. As we can see, once the partial pressure of inspired oxygen reduces, the alveolar oxygen partial pressure also reduces. In conditions where the provided oxygen is insufficient as low FiO2 or in high altitude, oxygenation defect can occur. The second defect is a ventilation defect. As we can see from the gas equation, as alveolar carbon dioxide content increases, it tends to displace the oxygen and reduces alveolar partial pressure of oxygen. This occurs in a condition where there is inability to remove carbon dioxide effectively. This may occur in acute CNS events as coma, neuromuscular paralysis like snakebite, GBS, or excessive sedation causing ventilatory dysfunction. The third defect is the diffusion defect. The diffusion of gas across the alveoli to into the blood vessel is governed by the Fick's law, which states that the rate of diffusion is proportional to both the surface area and the concentration difference of the gas and is inversely proportional to the thickness of the membrane. As the thickness of the membrane increases, the diffusion of the gas decreases. This can occur in several conditions like pneumonia, pulmonary edema, interstitial lung disease, and ARDS. Finally, there can be a defect in ventilation and perfusion leading on to a mismatch. There can be a well ventilated alveoli which is not perfused, which occurs in cases of pulmonary embolism, or there can be alveoli which is not ventilated but well perfused, classically seen in atelectasis. Both these conditions will cause VQ mismatch leading on to hypoxia. Having understood the indications of respiratory support, let us now discuss how to support these patients. The primary goal of respiratory support is to provide adequate oxygenation or ventilation and to reduce the work of breathing. The nature of support depends on the underlying pathophysiology. It can be a non-invasive or an invasive support. Let us now try to understand the basic ventilator setup through this illustration. Let us assume that there is a balloon which is connected by a Y-piece to two ends which are fitted with two valves. A gas source is attached to valve A and valve B to the exhaust. Let us now release valve A. This causes movement of gas from gas chamber into the balloon. This gas flow will result in inflation of the balloon at a constant pressure. This occurs till the inspiratory valve remains open. Once the inspiratory valve closes and the exhaust valve opens, air starts to flow from the balloon towards the exhaust. This will result in a decrease in volume of the balloon until the exhaust valve closes. We can equate this model to a patient ventilator interaction where the lungs can be analogous to the balloon and the ventilator can be analogous to the gas source. There is an interface between the ventilator and the patient. Thus, the ventilator is going to cause a pressure difference, causing flow of gas over a period of time, resulting in volume change. A ventilator setup includes patient ventilator interface, circuit, humidifier, temperature probes, flow sensor, and other accessories like nebulizer and capnogram. Always perform a self-check as per the instructions given for the ventilator. The ventilator interfaces commonly used include endotracheal tube if it is an invasive ventilation or a face mask if it is a non-invasive support. The sizes may vary depending on the age of the child. In a patient who is in need of ventilation, once the airway is secured with appropriate size interface, the ventilator delivers the inspired air through the inspiratory limb and the expired air travels back to the ventilator through the expiratory limb. The humidifier acts as an artificial nose to produce heated and humidified air. The air which is condensed in the circuit gets collected in the water traps. Finally, the flow sensor acts as a mechanism to sense the flow and pressure differences across the ET tube. The size of the ventilator circuit may vary with the age. In neonates and children less than 15 kg, a 10 mm tube is preferred. In children between 15 to 35 kg, a 15 mm tube is preferred, and in adolescent and adults beyond 35 kg, a 20 mm tube is preferred. The sizes are arbitrary and we need to check the instruction manual before using them. Compressible volume is the term used to denote the volume of inspired breath lost as a result of tubing compliance. Circuit compressibility is directly proportional to the airway pressure applied. For every 1 cm increase in pressure difference, a 3 to 5 ml of inspiratory tidal volume is lost in the circuit. Most ventilators self-adjust for this loss and is not shown as tidal volume loss. Humidifier serves the purpose of prevention of drying of mucosa and secretions. This maintains a mucociliary function. It can be of two types, the heated humidifiers and heat-moist exchangers. We will discuss in detail about humidifiers in the following session. Temperature sensors act by sensing the temperature in the inspiratory limb. They are usually connected between humidifier and the inspiratory limb and act in liaison with the humidifier and maintain a constant temperature throughout the inspiratory limb. The flow sensor is a pressure transducer attached to a restrictor in the passage. The restrictor senses the gas flow by differential movements. The flow characteristic can be altered due to secretions, varying gas viscosity, and gas composition. It is important to ensure that the flow sensor is clean and not blocked by any secretions. Various accessories are attached to ventilator circuit. The common ones include nebulizer and capnogram. Nebulizers are usually attached to the inspiratory end for delivery of aerosolized medications. Capnography devices are commonly used to measure end-tidal carbon dioxide. They can be side stream or mainstream. They can be used to monitor the patient's ventilation status during intubation and during CPR to establish adequacy of CPR. We will discuss in detail of capnography devices in a separate lecture. The following is a simple checklist that we need to ensure before initiating ventilation. All parts of circuit are functioning and correctly set up. Ensure that the gas supply and power supply is adequate. All accessories are to be attached without any leak or occlusion. Ensure that the ventilator self-check is performed. Ensure the endotracheal tube is patent and in position. Finally, a patient who is in need and an operator or physician who knows how to operate the ventilator. In summary, mechanical ventilation is a positive pressure ventilation. It is a simple model akin to inflating a balloon. Ensure all checklists are met before initiating ventilation. Assess the patient condition and set the variables and mode as per the patient need. In the following lecture, we will discuss the variables and mode of ventilation. If you like these videos, please subscribe us and click on the bell icon for new updates.